Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Report, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
Well, let's take a look at some stocks on the move today in Europe. I'm Stephen Carroll and I'm joined by our breaking news editor, Louise Moon. Louise, good morning. Let's start with Unilever, a downgrade for them.
Indeed, yes, a downgrade by Kepler from a buy to a hold. Now, they had Unilever as a buy since 2021, so quite a big change in that sense from them. They're saying that, yes, Unilever is a safe play when it comes to AI, so obviously that we've seen throughout the markets worries over AI disruption, but they're saying, yes, it is a safe play, so that's the positive end, but they see better value elsewhere across Europe in the space, in the FMCG space, and so therefore they're seeing limited near-term upside, essentially, so they've downgraded them. It follows results from Unilever last week that saw shares fall on the back of that. They gave quite cautious guidance for 2026. They're warning of a slower market in the US, which is offsetting growth in emerging markets. They've also had a bit of a slow start to the year. And in the even wider context, it comes in the middle of their big turnaround. So they've been embarking on a turnaround for quite a while now. And the main part of that is kind of streamlining and selling off brands that don't necessarily scale more internationally, focusing on their core products and focusing on boosting them and growing them. That is under their CEO who joined last March, but he's continuing previous plans. So it's been long ongoing, and investors have largely welcomed it. So shares have risen since the CEO took over, but their results last week and this downgrade today shows that there's still kind of a lot of barriers to overcome and a lot still to be done to convince investors that their turnaround is taking shape and has legs going forward as well.
Okay, so that's one story in focus for markets. Applied Nutrition, meanwhile, their shares up 6.8%. What's driving that?
Yeah, they had a update this morning, essentially all quite positive going forward for Applied Nutrition, and shares, as you say, are reacting well on the back of this. So this was their third guidance hike in a row, and you know it's always quite an interesting company to talk about in the sense of it only listed relatively recently in the UK, so it's one of the rare listings that we've seen in the UK, so it's an interesting one to keep an eye on to see how they're doing. But as I say, they've boosted guidance. They're saying there's a lot of demand for their products and diversification across the high street, big push obviously into health, so that's really benefiting them and their shares this morning. Okay,
and now we're also watching shares this morning in the artist formerly known as Boohoo, which is now known as Debenhams, down 10%. What's going on?
Yeah, the big drop for them. So the most since August, and extending drops that we've been seeing. So they've had drops of about 20%, 21% over the past 12 months. So the latest news is they're planning an equity raise of about £35 million, and some of the company directors are participating in that. Also holding talks with lenders for what they say to give them greater financial flexibility for their turnaround. So analysts are saying that investors might be a bit dismayed of their financial situation. They did reaffirm guidance for 2026 and 2027, but potentially a bit of dismay around their current situation. As you say, they rebranded. So they rebranded last year to Debenhams Group from Boohoo, and trying to turn themselves around, a total overhaul really, to turn themselves into quite an asset light model. So that's still taking place. It's still going on. There's also a lot of pressure from Mike Ashley, who's one of their shareholders. He's been pushing for board representation, so they're kind of grappling with a lot at the moment, and this equity raise is the latest part of that, so not being taken too well this morning.
The Stock Movers Report from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.